My name is Isabella. I'm 32 years old, and I once believed love was a promise, not a performance. He said I wasn't enough, that she was better, smarter, prettier, more exciting. But years later, her voice shook on the phone when she said, "I think we need to talk about him." Before I tell you what she confessed that night, hit subscribe so you never miss a story where karma takes its time but never forgets. I met Ethan when I was 26. Quiet, deliberate, the kind of man who noticed the small things. He used to say, "You calm me down, Izzy. You make life simple." Maybe that was the problem. He wanted fireworks. I gave him constellations. We were together for 4 years. We talked about marriage, even toured apartments. But somewhere between those weekend plans and Monday mornings, he began to fade. He'd stay late at work, forget to text. And when he was home, he looked at me like I was a chapter he'd already read. Then came her, Madeline. She worked in his office, the kind of woman people described as radiant. She had a career, confidence, the sort of laugh that filled a room. I didn't even know her, but I felt her shadow long before I saw her face. He broke up with me on a Wednesday. We sat in the same cafe where we'd once planned our future. His words were rehearsed, clean and sharp. "Izzy, you're incredible, but I met someone who just fits me better." That word, better, didn't hurt at first. It numbed. I just nodded, my coffee untouched, while my heartbeat sounded like applause for a scene I never auditioned for. He didn't cry. He didn't even look back when he walked out. I went home, packed the mug he used every morning, and threw it into the bin. That was the only sound that felt honest that day. For months, my world shrank to the size of my apartment. I avoided our mutual friends. When people said, "He's happy with her," I smiled and said, "Good for them." Inside, I was learning what heartbreak sounds like when it doesn't scream. It hums. I deleted his photos, but the muscle memory stayed, the way my phone lit up at 8:03 p.m. when he used to text, "Home soon." Now it just stayed dark, but pain has a strange mercy. One day, it gets boring. So I started rebuilding. New job, new haircut. I even started painting again, something I'd stopped when he told me it was a nice hobby, not a career. A year later, I saw them by accident. Ethan and Madeline, hand in hand, laughing in the grocery store. She was wearing the same shade of lipstick I used to wear. And he looked older. Not in years, but in energy. Like joy cost him too much. I didn't hide. I just walked past. He saw me, froze for a moment, then smiled that polite smile you give a stranger. It didn't hurt. Not anymore. I just thought, so this is what better looks like. Life went on. I changed jobs twice, moved cities once, and slowly built peace where pain had lived. I dated but never forced it. I'd learned that loneliness was lighter than disappointment. Then, one evening, 5 years after that cafe goodbye, I got a call from an unknown number. A hesitant voice said, "Is this Isabella?" "Yes, who's this?" "It's Madeline," Ethan's wife. The room went still. I hadn't thought about them in years, and suddenly the past was breathing in my ear. "I wouldn't call you if it wasn't important," she said softly. "It's about Ethan." Her tone cracked like glass. And that's when I realized the story wasn't over. If you've ever wondered whether karma really comes back, stay with me. Because what she told me next changed everything. Ethan's wife. Those words echoed like thunder in a church. Her voice shook on every vowel. "Isabella, I think you deserve to know what really happened." I sat on the edge of my couch, one hand gripping the phone, the other tracing circles on my jeans like I was drawing courage. "He's gone," she whispered. Not dead. Just gone. He walked out on me the same way he did you. My heart didn't race. It slowed, steady, deliberate. The universe doesn't shout when it balances. It whispers. Madeline's words spilled out like broken glass. He drained my savings. Told me he was starting a business. Then one day he packed a bag and disappeared. She inhaled sharply. He left a note. 4 sentences. Don't look for me. I need freedom. Sound familiar? I did remember. Almost the same note, different handwriting. I hadn't realized how universal his lies were. He used me, Izzy, she continued, her voice cracking. I thought I was better. I thought I won. But I was just next. I wanted to hate her. But instead, I felt something unexpected. Pity. Because the real revenge had already arrived, wrapped in karma. After we hung up, I sat in silence, replaying the past like a movie in reverse. Every smile, every promise, every "you deserve better than me" suddenly looked like foreshadowing. I realized Ethan never loved anyone. He loved reflection, the way admiration looked on other people's faces. Back then, I thought his distance meant I wasn't enough. Now I saw it was his emptiness that needed to borrow my light. I wasn't too quiet. I was peaceful, and he mistook peace for weakness. That night I scrolled through my old email archive, curiosity pulling at me. There he was, Ethan's last message, 5 years old. I hope you're doing well. Madeline makes me happy. You will find someone better. I clicked reply. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, but I didn't type. Some silences deserve to stay holy. Instead, I drafted a new email and addressed it to myself. You were never the problem. You were the lesson. Then I hit send. 3 days later, she called again. I found him, she said. Do you want to know where? I didn't answer right away. I was afraid curiosity might look too much like interest. He's in Seattle, living with someone new. Her voice broke. I don't know how he does it. I closed my eyes. I could picture him, same smile, different victim. It wasn't love that moved him from woman to woman. It was ego, searching for fresh worship. Madeline, I said quietly, you don't heal by chasing him. You heal by leaving his name out of your next sentence. There was a long pause, then a sob. How did you get over him? I stopped trying to win a game I never agreed to play. After the call, I stood in front of the mirror. For years I had avoided mirrors, afraid to see the woman he had called not enough. But now I saw her clearly. Lines from laughter, not pain. Eyes tired but wise. Peace where insecurity used to live. I smiled. It wasn't revenge. It was recognition. That night I wrote him a letter I never intended to send. Dear Ethan, you were right. She was better for you, because you needed someone to believe your story. I needed someone to see through it. Thank you for leaving. You freed me from your illusion of love. I folded it and slid it into the same drawer where I kept old paintbrushes. Some things belong in storage, not because they matter, but because they taught you. Scene 8. The Whisper of Closure. 14:30, 16. When I went to sleep that night, I dreamed of the cafe where he had ended us. Except this time, I was the one walking away. And for the first time in years, I didn't wake up angry. I woke up free. If you've ever been told someone was better than you, wait until you hear what happened when he finally came back into my life. It was a Sunday morning when I saw his name again. After 6 years of silence, an email blinked on my screen. Subject: Hey. 2 letters, 1 ghost. I hovered my mouse over it for a full minute before clicking. Hey, Izzy, I know it's been a while. I heard you're doing well. I'd love to talk, maybe grab coffee. No apology. No explanation. Just entitlement wrapped in nostalgia. I didn't reply. I just stared at the blinking cursor, wondering what it must feel like to think the door you burned down was still standing. That same week, Madeline called again. He reached out to me too, she said bitterly. After everything, he said he misses me. I laughed softly, not out of joy, but out of understanding. He wasn't missing us. He was missing what we gave him: reflection, forgiveness, admiration. What did you tell him? I asked. Nothing. I blocked him. Good, I said. You're finally learning the language he taught us. Silence. There was comfort in knowing we were no longer opponents in his narrative. We were survivors of the same lie, and that made us sisters in a way he could never understand. That night, I scrolled through social media and found his profile. He looked smaller, different hair, forced smiles. A caption read, "Starting fresh, new city, new woman." But what caught my eye wasn't him, it was her. The woman beside him looked barely older than 20, smiling the way I once did, unguarded, hopeful, blind. I stared for a while, and then I did something I hadn't done in years. I picked up my paintbrush. If he could recycle people, I could recycle pain. I started a new art series called Echoes. Each painting was a moment of silence from my past: the coffee mug, the note, the laughter that wasn't mine anymore. But in color, it became something else: beautiful, haunting, and free. Months later, my gallery hosted a small exhibit. I didn't invite anyone from my past, but they came anyway. Among the crowd, I saw a familiar face: Madeline. She smiled, truly this time. You turned it into art, she said. We turned it into wisdom, I replied. And then, as if summoned by the ghosts of bad decisions, Ethan walked in. He looked older, thinner, like guilt had been chewing on his edges. Our eyes met. He hesitated, then smiled that old smile, the one that used to make me forgive him before he'd even apologized. But I didn't feel anything. Isabella, he said softly, I saw your post about the exhibit. I had to see it for myself. I turned slightly, letting the warm light of my paintings fall on my face. Funny, I said. You never showed up for the things that mattered when we were together. He looked down, then murmured, I was stupid. I hurt you. I hurt a lot of people. Yes, I said simply. But the thing about hurting people is, it eventually circles back. He sighed. You look happy. I smiled faintly. That's what happens when you stop waiting for an apology. Before leaving, he stopped in front of one painting. A faceless man walking away from a woman sitting calmly on a park bench. The title, Closure. This one's about me, isn't it? He asked. No, I said gently. It's about the woman who stopped needing you. He nodded, eyes wet. I hope she forgives me. She already did, I said. That's why she's free. And then, without another word, he walked out. This time I didn't watch him leave. I just looked at my painting and thought, karma doesn't need help. It just needs time. Later that night, my phone buzzed again. Madeline had texted. He showed up at your exhibit, didn't he? Yes. Did he say anything? Nothing that mattered. After a pause, she wrote, I'm glad he finally saw who you became. I stared at her message and smiled. He saw the ending. I lived the sequel. I poured myself a glass of wine and stood by the window. The night air was soft, forgiving. Somewhere out there, he was probably telling another woman how she made him feel alive. And maybe she believed it, for now. But me? I had outgrown the kind of love that needed to be proved. I had built something better, peace that didn't depend on anyone staying. It had been 2 months since the exhibit. I was painting again one afternoon when I received another message, not from him but from an unknown number. Isabella, it's her, Madeline. I hadn't heard from her in weeks. The text continued. He's in trouble. For a moment I felt that old flicker, the urge to care, to fix, to understand. But I exhaled it out like smoke, she called a minute later. Her voice was raw. He borrowed money from me again. From his new girlfriend, too. He vanished. I just thought you should know. I closed my eyes. The pattern had repeated itself, just with new faces. Some men don't change, they just move their stage. Let him disappear, I said softly. He's already gone. Scene 2, the news, 2:30, 5. A week later, a friend from our old town messaged me. Did you hear? Ethan got arrested. Fraud. A string of fake business deals, borrowed money, and broken promises. His photo was on a local news page. Unshaven, tired, eyes full of excuses. I didn't smile. I just felt done, not satisfied, complete. Karma had a long commute, but it arrived right on time. That night, I opened a blank canvas. This one was different, pure white, untouched. For once, I didn't paint the past. I painted light, broad strokes of gold and ivory like sunrise breaking through fog. When it dried, I titled it After, because that's what life is after heartbreak. Not revenge, not bitterness, just after. 3 weeks later, my doorbell rang. I opened it to find Madeline standing there. No makeup, just tired honesty. I thought you deserved to know, she said. He asked me to call you from jail. He wants to apologize. I almost laughed. Apologies don't sound better through prison phones. Tell him, I said. He already did. The day he left, she nodded slowly, tears in her eyes. I think I finally get it now. You were never the villain in his story. No, I said quietly. I was just the ending he couldn't rewrite. She smiled, weak but real. And when she left, it felt like closing the final door on a storm that had already passed. Months passed. My exhibit grew. My name began to circle in art magazines. A small feature called me the painter of closure. I laughed when I read that, because they were right. Every brushstroke was a goodbye turned into beauty. Sometimes when I'm painting late at night, I think about all the women who will someday sit where I once sat, holding a phone, shaking, after hearing she's better than you. And I wish I could tell them this. Better isn't prettier. Better isn't louder. Better is peaceful. Better is healed. One evening I received an envelope. No return address. Inside was a note, written in neat, trembling handwriting. Thank you for talking to me that day. I'm finally leaving him for good. You were right. Silence speaks the truth. M. I held it for a while, then placed it beside my first painting. Echoes. We had both finally escaped the echo chamber of his lies. That night, I walked by the sea. The sky was pale, the air smelled like endings. I whispered into the wind, "You can keep your better, Ethan." I became my best. The waves didn't answer, but they didn't need to. I already knew, justice isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a woman standing alone, smiling at peace she built herself. If you've ever been left for someone better and found your worth in the silence after, this story was for you. Tap like, hit subscribe, and remember, sometimes the best revenge is living so beautifully that regret can't find you.